We spend a lot of time developing our professions, but we don't spend time developing ourselves. Look, as a leader, as a professional, you have to grow. You have to grow yourself. And to be able to grow yourself, you need to know yourself. A lot of us are not achieving the maximum we can achieve because we have not invested in our personal growth. So we are bringing you this special studies based on John C. Maxwell's book, The 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth. And we're going to just spend time with you and help you go through the principles that you need to be able to grow your person, to become a better person. Because if you become a better person, you become a better leader, you become a better father, you become a better professional. Do not miss this opportunity, as the masterclass is going to be very practical and discussional. It is going to be a limited number of people. So please register now to be part of the program.
Hello, hello, hello. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning from wherever you are joining us. Today is Saturday, and it's our greatest time of the day, the weekend, to really connect with all of you beautiful audience. My name is Sarah Jessie Apia, and today I will be your host for the leadership platform that is powered by CTL Africa. As always, we come your way with leaders, learnings, and different books that you did. For example, last week when you had Leaders Are Readers episode. So today we bring you another leader who is in the person of Maame Ekua Gaisey. We call her the Maame Gaisey. And Maame is a distinguished people and business enabler, a strategist, a trainer, and a certified Maxwell leadership coach. Today, Maame will be talking to us about the secrets in delivering powerful presentations and crafting persuasive messages. Okay, so get ready, join us to have a great learning space. But before we do that, if you're joining us for the first time, please put your name in the chat box and also tell us where you are joining us from, what your expectations are. And note that whilst Maame will be sharing, you have the opportunity to put in comments as well as your questions in the chat. Maame will be sharing with us for about 30 minutes, and then we'll have a session for Q&A. Right. So I can see Conrad Kakraba, who is joining us today, and he says this topic is so crucial for us to make great impact in our spheres of influence. Okay, so I don't see any more people presenting themselves. Please do, because this is an interactive space and we want to get to know you and really honor you. So please put in your name wherever you're joining us from. Conrad, thank you for doing that. So without much ado, I will invite Maame to the leadership platform this week. Maame has been with us several times. I guess, Maame, if I'm not mistaken, this will be your fourth time with us, right?
Yes.
Great. So for those who don't know Maame, we do have the background issues that she has, topics that she she has already shared with us, you can always go to our YouTube channel and you'll be able to access those. So, Mami, tell us who you are a little bit for those who are joining us for the first time. And then after that, I'll give you the floor to share with us.
Awesome. Awesome. Great. Sarah, thank you so much for having me once again at the leadership platform. I mean, when we talk as coaches and we think about the fact that every week, rain or shine, whatever it is, you and the team, Sam and the team are able to bring to our audiences the learnings that are so pertinent to their personal growth, their leadership growth, their business growth, it just baffles me because a lot of us try, but we are unable to keep the consistency. And that's the whole point of learning, consistency. And it's going to be a major part of what we're going to be talking about today. Talking about how we can craft and deliver persuasive and powerful presentations and messages. And a lot of the times, everybody listens to people on TEDx. Sometimes you hear people talk and you're wondering, how are they able to do that? When can I ever do that? Do they ever breathe when they're talking? Oh, we are going to go through a few slides this evening, which is one of the reasons we need to understand that powerful and persuasive messages don't have to be verbose. They don't have to take 4 hours. In these 30 minutes or less, we're going to learn very, very interesting nuggets of how we can deliver messages that move people from one point to the other or shift ideas and thoughts about ideas. So, shall we move on? So as I've been introduced already by Sarah, I just love everything people. I love everything strategy. And one of the most important things about me, if you're watching or listening to me, is my fervor for the things of God. I love God on a personal basis, and I'm so unapologetic about it. I just love God. I love the worship of God. I love the service of God. I love the grace that God gives me. And I am just so much of a music fan. So if you want me in a good place where there's good music, definitely gospel, where there's good food, you're sure to have me talking some wisdom. But as a person, I have navigated corporate in different industries around the globe. And I'm happy to share that currently I run a firm called 565. There we talk about culture, we talk a lot about strategy, and we do a lot of work around people and the functional business of HR. So this evening, as Joy helps me navigate to my map, I'm going to be talking about three major things. So the blocks of my presentation are on three folds. How to mark your map when you're presenting or speaking to any audience. It could be one person, it could be 100 people, it could be 5 people. What is all of that going to do for you? When you look at your map, you need to understand that it has to feed into something. And how do you roll all of that away into a beautiful message that will definitely move the person to at least think about what you want them to think about? And if you're able to do that, at the end of the day, somebody has to shift their mindset or the person has to take an action, because persuasion is actually an extremely powerful and influential tool if you know how to. So let's look at how. First and foremost, if you're online with us, I want you to type in our comment section an X if you've ever delivered a presentation before, anywhere, whilst in class, could be at the uni, could be at senior secondary school, before a group of people at church, at a corporate function, in the media, wherever. If you have done any presentation, just put an X in the comment section. Awesome. Lizianne, thank you very much. Anybody else? Right. Oh, Kwame Kwache, thank you. Thank you. Ah, Onyametiasi Jacob, thank you. You have delivered presentations before. Now, moving on. How much do you love speaking with people? And I'm not talking about talking to people. I am differentiating this because speaking now engages the two parties. Even if your respondent is not talking back, speaking means that you're waiting to pick cues. You're waiting to see how the people are reacting. So, how much do you love speaking with people? On a scale of 1 to 10, where 1 is the lowest and 10 is the highest, of course, if there were a 20, I will be. I love speaking with people. Lizianne is my kind of lady. Lizianne is on a 10, and I can imagine that you can shift the scale to a 15. Who else? On a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you love speaking with others? Yeah. Thank you very much, Sally. You joined. Jennifer says she's on an 8. And Lamte, you also joined us. Thank you, Ebenezer Domso. Oh, Raymond is on a 3. I like that. I love that honesty. You'd rather you were in your own space, minding your own business, just keeping quiet and listening to others. Any more? Oh, Kwame Kwachi is on 10 as well. Right. Now, which would you do? Jacob, thank you. You are on a 7. Now it's rolling in. Ebenezer is a 9. Anthony says 5. Now, which one would you do? Negotiating for an extra budget for a project or your business, or just managing the costs, so you've got a 5,000 budget, you need to deliver a particular project, and you're thinking, I know this is not going to be enough. Okay, let me just cut transportation. Let me cut down on the food. So you go back to the caterer, and rather than going back to your principles and saying that, you know what, guys, this is what I want to do. This is the benefit we're going to gain from this. And this is how much more money we need to add to this. What would you do? Which one would you go for? What's your go-to? What would be your natural tendency? To either go asking for a lot more money from the executives, or trying to mind whatever you've been given in the name of I am very appreciative. You would love to negotiate, Lizianne. She will negotiate for more cash. Who else? Who else is on the tab? Sally, what would you do? Would you get more money for your girls, or you would rather manage the budget? Kwame, talk to me. Kwame Kwache, Kwame JB, Jennifer Kafui. Oh, Kokui? Yes. Who else is negotiating? Oh, Falia to say she's just gonna manage the budget. She doesn't want any stress. Oh, Kwame too will manage the budget. All right. Who else is managing the budget? Who is going to negotiate? Sally is just going to manage the budget. That's her forte. She learns how to deal with the funds so well. I'm so loving this. Negotiate for more. Kwame. Yes, Mr. JB. We are going for more money. Charles is also going to negotiate. Where are the negotiators? Gather here. Bismarck says on a scale of 1 to 10, he's on a 7. Bismarck, tell us as well whether you're going to negotiate for more funds or you're going to manage with what you have. All right, Joy. Now let's move on. So I'm not too sure when you saw the topic, whether you picked it on my handle or the CTL platform, whether you thought this evening we are going to learn how to do all these powerful PowerPoint presentations. Mommy is going to show us how to do the slides so that they can sizzle and they can attract as much attention. Or, Joy, whether you thought I was going to give you some PowerPoint tips, I'm not too sure. Maybe you thought we're going to learn about PowerPoints. Maybe you also thought that, okay, Mommy is going to show us how to really be on stage. You know, when I see her on stage and I see the way she's doing her thing, I think that we're going to learn how to manage ourselves on the stage so that when the highlight is on us, we can perform. I don't know why or what you think we are going to do this evening, Joy. And I'm not too sure whether you think I'm going to be showing you how, you can sit up on your high horse, like I am the big boss. And I am going to deliver this powerful presentation. And it's going to get us all the results that we are looking for. I don't know. I don't know what you thought or what your expectation was. Or how to tell beautiful stories so that you can glean all the powerful presentation tidbits that Mommy may probably have in her belt. I don't know. But one thing is for sure, Joy. Presentations and their power is not necessarily in how loud they are. You don't necessarily move people from one position, one thought process to another because you're screaming so loud, or you have the biggest microphone, or your speakers are banging the loudest, or you are using the loudest voice, or you're using the biggest words, or you're using the most the most painted PowerPoint slides. No, that's not what gives you the power. You see, when I talk about, and as you can see, one of the most powerful things you can do is own your own slides. So I'm so happy that this evening I'm unable to present myself with the help of Joy, who sits continents away. I'm having to depend on her leading. She watches me, she takes my cue, and now she gives me the deck. And when that happens, one of the things that you lose touch of is the flow of your presentation. Now, let's get some basics. What we mean by presentation, when I am presenting or when I am talking about presentation, I'm talking about bringing myself to you, talking to you about a certain idea, how to create persuasive messages. Now, to persuade means I am going to, at the end of this conversation, convince you, somehow let you begin to think through and understand and appreciate how to move people from one thought process to the other, a position to the other, being so afraid and being so cringy about a presentation to knowing that this can be as easy a conversation as you're having with your girlfriend as I am having with the millions of people that would be watching. And when we talk about power, it's not always about position. You know, when you go into a place, the people that influence the most, those that actually cause things to shift, are not always the loudest. You will go into a place and see a very old man with his stick a very old woman with her book or her knitting needle, seated quietly, watching things, movements going, coming, people that are shifting, those making noise, those trying to get everybody's attention. And they are sometimes the most influential people. So, when I'm talking about power this evening, creating powerful messages, I am wanting you to look at this as coming from a place of influence. It's not from a place of power. You don't have to have a title, you don't have to have that position. As an individual, as a leader of yourself first and of others, your power is in your ability to influence. So, the 3 P's of my basics this evening are presentation, bringing to you, communicating means I'm talking, I'm acting it, I'm letting you feel the energy. Persuading, moving your thought and your ideation, and powerfully means that I am getting into your skin, into your thoughts, into your psyche. And it is not always because I am more powerful. It is not always because I have a higher hierarchy. It is only because I know what to say and what to do. And that power is what I want you to glean from this evening's session. Joy. Now, how do you do that? You are going to do a presentation for those of you who wanted to go and negotiate for more. And that will be my preference as a person. It does not mean managing the budget is wrong. No. What it does mean is that there is always the space and opportunity for you to be able to greet into the space of negotiation, but we'd rather not go there. Because what does it mean? It requires knowing you. And once you know you, when I know me or you know that, okay, I think, Maame, I'll just make do with it. I don't want to. Nah, I struggle to get this money. Nah, I'm not going to go speak again. It's too much work. You must know you. I would negotiate, somebody would manage with the budget. So, whenever you are going into a conversation that requires persuasion, that requires you moving people's thoughts, that requires causing a shift, you must know you. Who are you? What do you enjoy? How do you come to life? How would you like to engage? And know them. Knowing that I would like to negotiate is not the end of the conversation. I must know the negotiation I'm going for, the people at the other end of the table, are they comfortable with this? How will they take it? Because maybe they would think that I'm not responsible. Maybe they would think that I am not grateful. Maybe they will think that I'm not diligent enough. So I must know them. I must know you. As I'm presenting to you, I must understand that there are a myriad of individuals in the audience, and some of them would like a very calm and slow pace. And some of you would like the energy and the verve that it comes with. And some of you would just like a combination of both. So when you're going into a space where you want to cause a shift, be ready to understand and know the people or the person at the other end. Now, know what it is that you are causing the shift on. What is that shift you're looking for? Is it the shift of thought? Is it the shift of heart? Is it the shift of action? How do you intend for these people to make that shift? How are you going to do that persuasion? Storytelling, letters, policy statements, making money or resources available. Know how you're going to cause that persuasion. And most importantly, why in this world? Why on this earth? Why in your life must people be persuaded for the cause you are on about? So, 1, know you. 2, Know them. 3, know what you want that shift to be. 4, be aware of the how. And 5, and most importantly, why. Now, the route to people's change and shift. There are people that are very logical. All this English that I'm speaking, I just have to put some numbers together and somebody's night is sorted. Like, mommy, show me the how. Put the numbers together. What's the accounting of it? What's the economics of it? What are the quantitative measures at the end of all of this? What are the numbers saying? For some people, it must make sense. It must appeal to the thought process. Does it make sense that she's talking about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? Does it make sense that she wants me to know the other person? Why must I? For some people, for you to be able to cause that persuasion, you need to appeal to their heart. Some people must cry before they will give you the money. You must cause their heart to feel something, to bleed, to pain, or to be overjoyed. And for some people, they must see that, okay, Mansa has a Kwekutu, okay, everybody is liking, everybody is answering. She says X. I mean, I didn't want to write X. I wanted to write Y. But since everybody's writing X, let me also pop in an X. Then we put in X, X, X. For some people, it must appeal to their societal belonging. If everybody is not working it, they aren't working it. So the route to causing people or delivering a message that will cause a shift depends on the people. Is this individual or this group of people logical? Are they emotive or are they socially bound? And you are wondering, okay, now that I've figured out my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I know me, I know them, I know the what, I know the how, I know the why, and I figured that this, my boss, is very numbers oriented, so I'm going to go appeal to the head. What do you need to do? Sometimes it's not just a one-off presentation like this. Sometimes it's a course of events and a period. So what do I want you to do? If you think about the fact that we say water is so powerful, and it is not the quantity of water that moves the rock, but how long it pours in the same place. Because for some people, I have to come and talk about these persuasive messages every day, every day, every day before they will get it. So you need to be consistent. Today you're saying this. Tomorrow, mommy says that. Today she says this. Tomorrow she says wear white to make it. Then tomorrow she says, oh yes, we need to vary. But there's a certain level of consistency that causes a shift. Be believable. If you don't believe the things you're doing yourself, nobody else will. And that comes from a place of having learned you yourself. Have you learned? Have I learned how to deliver persuasive messages? Oh, yes. And so I can confidently come to you and say, this is how we've done it. You can Google this topic and you find all sorts of things. This is my how. And it's because I have culminated different knowledge out of different situations over a period of time. Now you need to be present. I could be talking about this with only an audio. The impact and the effect will be completely different from you seeing me, seeing how this heat in this Ghana is dealing with me. And how Sarah has a muffler around her neck because it's cold where she is. So your presence, having presence when you are delivering a message can cause a certain consideration. So a lot of the times you're like, you go. There are times that as a leader or as an individual, you need to be present. And your presence is not just physical. You're presently talking to somebody. And then I could be talking and I'll be on my phone and I'll be, oh no, was it? No, be present. I am connecting with you. I want you to see that this is all I'm doing right now. This is the most important thing for me this evening. So I am present and I'm authentic. I won't tell you anything I've never done before. I'm not going to ask you to go and tie your hair and do things before. No. You need to be authentic, because on the internet nowadays saying, hey, there are frills, there are things. People say jump. You jump 2 meters high, and then you realize that, okay, 2 meters high is actually going through your roof. So there's so many frills, but be authentic and come from a place that is deep and pure. And you will see that you're able to deliver a shift message. And what is in it for them? As you're watching me and learning this, you're asking yourself, at the end of the day, what is it? There must be something in your message for the recipient or recipients, for them to want to be able to come along with you. If you join this and you're like, this presentation, this is not my thing, there's nothing in it for you. There's no learning for you. It will not be as beneficial. You might be watching this after the show and you're like, I don't think this is the thing for me. I want something that's more colorful. I want some red and orange and yellow combined. Then I'll feel that she's doing something. Maybe this is not for you. But whenever you're delivering a persuasive message, ask yourself, what am I delivering that is in it for the other person? So for me this evening, what is in this for you is the learning, is the and bits that you're picking, is the practicality of this evening's learning and the fact that you can apply it in your own life. So I am asking you because, Joy, I'm not sure all our slides loaded, because I've got a few more before we get to the thank you. So maybe the download was a problem because the file was quite heavy, I understand. But when you have gone through your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, understood where is the best way or how is the best way to arrive or get to this individual or the audience you are working with, and you've stayed consistent, you are believable, you are present, you are authentic, and you have delivered a value to the other people. One of the things that I always advocate for is, are you able to make sure that when they go back and think back about it, they will still remember how this works? They will still remember why Mommy said this. They will still remember why she wants us to learn how to deliver persuasive and powerful communication. They will still remember why we must make a shift in the behavior. They will still remember why we must give more to this particular cause. There's always a tendency that we do all the show for the now, forgetting that when the people go back and they think about it, because they do, people think about the things that we've spoken to them about when they are no longer in our presence. They must find a reason to want to make that shift. And this evening, as we finish off and I bring on Joy, or I bring on Sarah, I want you to know that there is always that room for you to be able to cause a shift. So for those of you who had less of a budget and were willing to make do with it, understand that there's always another avenue of negotiating for more. Thank you very much. And Sarah, if you may,
I am winning on all fronts limitlessly.
I have made tremendous improvement at work through delegating and empowering teams.
We started with the law of intentionality, which specifically makes it clear that growth cannot just happen. You have to be intentional about your growth.
CTO Africa Leadership brings you the Grow Journey, a series of masterclasses based on John C. Maxwell's book, The 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth. In this 10-week virtual growth accelerator, you will acquire the skills to thrive and flourish as you evolve into a more impactful and fulfilled individual. You will master the art of personal and professional development as you craft and execute your customized growth plan. Limited seats available. Register now for the next cohort.
Hey there! Join the next cohort of CTL Ghana's growth journey.
The next cohort is coming on. Get involved and your life will never be the same.
Get your early bird ticket for Live to Lead 2024. From now till April 15th, you get 20% off. Register now for either virtual, hybrid, or group tickets. Visit our website www.livetoleadghana.com. Live to Lead 2024. Leading for transformation. Renewed minds change lives. See you there.
Okay, welcome back. And I guess, were you persuaded? That's what I'm going to ask our audience. I was persuaded. You know, Maame had some challenges, but she knew herself. Know yourself. She really lived it out, and I was persuaded. So, Maame, whilst you're waiting for our audience to bring up their comments and questions, I see a lot of commendation saying Maame G is very persuasive. That's from Catherine. And Anna Biok Benjamin says he will manage. What you have, you can make out of that. Okay, that was his takeaway, even though you persuaded him, but he still wants to maintain his position. Let's see what others are saying. BizLaw Network saying excellent, I guess, for the presentation, for the whole presentation. And Jeffrey says so much insight to take home, following keenly. Now, ladies and gentlemen, what I would like to say, what are you taking away? Exactly, let Maame know, let us know. And also, if you have questions, Maame is ready for your questions. Thank you for the knowledge from Brewy James, for the knowledge sharing. Enyima versus says Justina Kwao. Okay, Justina Kwao joining from Accra. Great to have you here, Justina. And for all of you who were really engaging with us, I say bravo. And I'm looking for more comments, and let's see whether any questions. No questions so far. So, Maame, tell us a little bit about maybe a difficult persuasive presentation that you made, what you learned from it, and what were the pitfalls. Share with us.
Yes, I don't think I've gone through my most difficult yet, because as you grow in business, then you get more challenging persuasive messages to deliver. But as a business person, one of the things that is very common, and I'm sure you've experienced this, is to stand in front of a board and persuade them to make do with money. When that money is going to build a plant, a production line, is going to go into a marketing campaign, or it's going to bring in the needed financial software, it's usually a bit of an easy route. But when that money is going to go into people development or their growth, or the development of the culture of the business, they find it to be a bit too fluffy. So for me, every single day of my business, I am living to persuade people to begin to shift their mindsets from thinking that business as usual will deliver sustainable outcomes, because we need to shift our businesses towards values-based culture for us to be able to deliver sustainable profitability. So every day, last week I did one. And
Tell
how
us.
I manage this is exactly what I've shared. I know me. I am very authentically connected to business strategy. So you'll find me come into your business and I will not start talking about administrative things because that's not my biggest interest. So I'll ask about the future of the business. I like to talk about the big picture. I learn the business of the business I am pitching to. So I don't just go in thinking this is another bank. No, this is a particular bank. This is a particular production company. This is a specific advertising business that does specific things. So I
Okay.
learn my people that I'm going to, then I figure out why must they be interested? And what exactly do I want them to do? And how? The how is always the business. How do I want them to do it? So that's what happens. So the last time was last week. I was pitching for a business, and I needed to persuade the business leadership, the executives, that this is worth their budget. Yeah.
Excellent. So from what I'm hearing, doing your research, doing your homework is really key for you to be able to come up with the persuasion and the negotiation framework that you want to present. Okay,
Yeah.
excellent. Let me read a little bit more and see whether there are any questions. Liziane says, her take home is you have to be present in your
Yes.
conversation. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you, Liziane. And Noah Asideka, Asideka says, thanks so much, madam. Nicholas says, excellent presentation. Be authentic, seek knowledge, and
Yeah.
influence positive change through storytelling and
Yes.
persuasion. And Kwame Kwachi says, I'll be more deliberate on being persuasive going forward in my presentation. Thanks for sharing. Okay, I don't see any questions, but just commendations, and thank you all for that. Maame, I think I will ask another question. I'll ask another question if my audience are not doing so. So now, let's say I have learned all this, and I need a space to practice before I go public. Do you offer such services? What do you do? What are the services that you offer when it comes to learning how to persuade?
Okay. So I think for a lot of people, it is the business of standing, talking, making sure that they are coherent. If your slides are not coming up, what do I do? Or you go upstage and the microphone is not working and you're just and those
Exactly.
butterfly moments before, and people go through quite a lot. There's a wide range of things. Let me tell you what, it is okay to be afraid. It is what you do with that fear that is important, because everybody who has gotten to the point of just being able to talk and present and persuade and deliver powerful sessions have gone through learning. And we learn every day. I'm always learning. I'm always picking tips. I'm learning from not so powerful speakers sometimes. So when people come into the space and want to learn and groom themselves, yes, I support. It is through coaching. We will do rehearse. Some people will come and say, Mommy, I have this presentation. I cannot afford to dunk it. I need to nail it. So we'll go through. First, we will look at your content, like you said. What research has gone into it? What value are you giving to the audience? Why must they listen to you? We work through the substance, because no matter how good your English is and how dazzling you're looking, if the substance is not there, it won't move. So we look at the substance, then we begin to use your person, knowing you. to deliver the message rightly to the people, knowing them. So it will be fit for purpose.
Wonderful. And I must say that you have really demonstrated this with us. Your slides were not coming up. You were very authentic. You were present, saying, letting us know that this is the situation, this is what I'm doing. And you were present with us. You delivered and really persuaded us without us even recognizing that there was a hitch. In the moment, you were able to adapt using what you have. So thank you for that. Now, I have a question from Charlie Nette, who says, how do you compose yourself to deliver powerful presentation when your mind keeps going back to a bad news you received just before the presentation?
Yeah.
So hold that. I'll give you the second one. So whilst you think about it, the second one will, or maybe let me leave you to answer that, and then we'll move on to the next one.
Charlie, very practical. And I like this because this is the life. This is reality. What would happen in the situation is if it is such bad news as to cause me to not be able to be composed, and I so need that composure for this particular presentation, I'll see if I can negotiate out. And I've done that before. There are times I've had to go and do a presentation. I've woken up in the middle of the night or at dawn with a migraine. There was an instance I was already on the highway on my way to deliver the session, and I had an onset of a migraine, and I knew I was going to be twitching a bit. So I called in and asked, and I drove to the location and just said, I can't. I really can't. I'm ready, but I cannot do this. If the presentation is such that there's no other opportunity, when you step up, like I did, let them know. You don't have to give the details because it might be a very personal news. You don't have to give the details, but let your audience or the people around the table know that I am coming in with not such a good composure. I have just received quite a disturbing news. So you might see me getting a bit lost in my thoughts and myself. Please pardon me. Because you see, you are better off they knowing that and being able to empathize with you than they wondering, what's wrong? Why is this guy? And they would wonder, only for them to come back and they would tell you, if I'm part of the panel, I'll tell you, but you should have told us that. Then that would inform how they receive and assess your presentation or your performance. So always, because we're humans, life is never a straight line. Things come up that we don't plan for. When they do, we need to talk. And that's why sometimes we also ask, for instance, if it's an interview for a job, the panel must not be so to be very open, inhuman to say that I'm sorry if you couldn't make it, there's nothing we can do about it. No, I have had to carry babies on my back for nursing mothers to come in for interviews. We've had to do different things. We've had to schedule outside hours. We've had to do things. And you'll be surprised how people are willing to go the extra mile for you if you open up and are authentic about your challenges.
Excellent. Thank you. That really reminds me of one of the John Maxwell team conferences that we had. And one of the speakers had a father who was not very well. And he says, I have two choices. Either I be a speaker or I be a son. And I choose to be a son at this time. Yes, that's it. Okay, beautiful. Great. So let's see what other questions are coming up. Kwame says, please, can you share something practical on storytelling you used in the presentation you gave in the past? Okay. Maame has already given us a story. Okay, so over to you, Maame.
Yes, one of the things that we learn, especially from the Canfield family, is we go through life, and I have a Sunday blog that I share. And it's basically what happens in my life. in the course of the week or prior to the week. And when you're telling stories and they really are your stories, or they are stories you've heard that you're reporting, and you don't try to flourish it and add a lot of drama, look, it goes home straight. So practically, come with the simple story that you can remember the details of. And if it's a somebody story, I'll say, oh, I remember once one of my female coach colleagues, her name is Sarah. We're having lunch, we're having a coaching learning session, and she told us about this story. Or, oh, I was driving, oh, I was cooking, oh, I was working, oh, I was whatever it is, just make it authentic. The more flourishing you add, the more complex, the more like really that you get. So be authentic. So practically, I use storytelling a lot because that's my life. Every time I'm going through life, I'm driving, I'm eating, I'm doing things, I'm just writing. Thoughts keep coming to me. Oh, something happens and the story drops. Something, note them. I'll tell you what, sometimes I've seen something that's so powerful I want to talk about as a story in the next presentation, and then I don't remember, because that's also natural. So when you see the story could be an interesting one for my next sales pitch, write it down. For my next personal development session, write it down. So write down and collect your own stories or those of other people, and be sure to give them the credit if you're using them.
Excellent. Thank you. So a way of keeping a journal of your story for you is blogging and writing them down. Yes. So for the audience, maybe for you, it could be, you are very much into IT or whatever, you can record it, whatever way that feels comfortable for you. That's the way that you could go. Wonderful. The next question says, She Rock from She Rock Women Network. Thank you, Maame, for this insightful presentation. Authenticity is powerful. I love the way you demonstrated. Okay, so another commendation for you. Awesome. Let's see whether there is another question. This statement that says, people do not care about how much you know, but about how much you care. When you have to persuade, do we have to consider this in every situation?
Yes. So there's one of the slides that asked, what's in it for them? If all you're doing is to suit your needs, where you want them to go, what you want them to do, then it's not going to work. That's when we find a lot of resistance. So if they know that you care about their needs and what they also have at stake, then they are more likely. So definitely. So people do not care how much you know until they know how much you care. Is an underlining fact when you want to persuade people. So you got it right, Anna Biok.
Excellent. And you did give a good example of carrying somebody's baby on your back so they can have their interview, because you cared for them, cared for their children, so they were able to undergo the interview. Beautiful. So, Lizzie Ann, we move on to Lizzie Ann says, Maame, great. Being open and vulnerable makes you authentic to your audience. Indeed. Thank you, Lizzie Ann. Philippe, great presentation. William, awesome presentation. Charlie Nettie, please, how can I sign up for the coaching session on delivering presentation? This is really practical. This is somebody who is really acting upon what we have shared. So I think, you have your details, and I'll ask my team to share your details. Yes, thank you. So Charlie, you have the details of Maame on screen, and also when you go onto our YouTube channel, you have this presentation there if you don't catch it, but take a screenshot and you'll be able to contact Maame directly. Great.
Sarah, just a quick one. Noah asked a question about character traits and the effect of that on how
Oh,
speakers
perfect.
persuade their
Yeah.
audience. So
Yes, please go
if
ahead.
you don't mind me picking that up. Yes,
Please
Noah.
do.
So thanks a lot. Oh, yes. So as you can see, I'm a very animated speaker. But it does not mean that we are the only ones that persuade. No, 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 no. I've seen people who would barely move when they are talking, but they will get people to do what they want them to do. So, like I've said, when you are honest about what you want, you know what you want, you know how to get the people to do it, and you let the people have what's in it for them. It's not always about you being expressive or being animated, which is or fluent or eloquent. No, it is about knowing what to do and what to say at what time. So when it comes to character traits, those of us who are animated speakers would like to speak and there's some people that are very calm. And for those of you who come to the leadership platform, you know every Saturday you find a very different speaker or guest. Some people come, they're very calm and they're giving you gold nuggets. Some of us come, we are a lot of energy and fireballs, and we also learn with you, you know. So yes, the how is dependent on the person's character, but it doesn't mean that quieter speakers do not persuade. In fact, they are deeper persuaders. So yes, your character traits will affect the how, but not eventually the what the outcome will be.
Excellent. Great. And Anna Bjork is confirming that, saying he loves your presentation, especially the simple grammar used throughout. So you
Thank
really
you.
connected.
Thank you.
You really connected with
Thank
Anna
you.
Bjork.
Thank
Great. Okay, so I believe we have come to the end of the comments.
you,
Please, my
Jeffrey.
question, yes, oh, that's Jeffrey. Please, my question is, how do you assess the mood of the people in the room in the delivery of a presentation?
Okay, so how do I do that is I
Yes.
ask. So usually when I'm going to start my presentation, I ask Charlie, how are you people? And you know, Ghana, everybody says fine. Some people will not mind you. So one of the things I have come to realize is that people really are saying fine a lot when they are not fine.
Mm-hmm.
So I spend time to ask people how they really are. And yeah, sometimes it's training they've been compelled to come and sit in.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes they wanted to come, but they woke up in the morning and but for the fact that they've paid for it, they wouldn't have been there. Sometimes they're dealing with some back office things that's distracting. So you need to draw them in because you go into a room and there might have been a conversation or a confusion, an argument, anything for different people. So when you go into the room, if you are a speaker, you would pick that up. You pick up the energy. Sometimes you go in, you see that the people are upbeat about it, ride with it. When they are very low, don't go you being joyful and jolly all the way whilst they are sitting there looking at you like that. Bring them along. So, yes, by all means, read the temperature and know how to build up your tempo. How I do that is by asking deliberately and really how they are doing. And I really like to hear answers when I ask that question. It's not the rhetoric, Charlie, how be? No, 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 no. How are you? Really, how are you? And I like to hear the answers.
Okay. Mami, practically, I know you do, yes, you do ask the question. However, if you are supposed to speak at, let's say, 10 a.m., and you ask them the questions at 10 a.m., what are the prior preparations that you do to read the room? How many minutes or hours do you give yourself? If you could share that with us.
Okay. So if it is allowable, because it's not always, be at the venue earlier. For instance, there's a meeting going on. The meeting itself is starting from 9 to about 4. your presentation is at 11:30, which means that they would have been in the meeting having discussions you have no control over, getting themselves into moods that you cannot control before you go in. So you walk into a certain foundation. When you walk in, don't be in a hurry. The presentation is there. That's why you must know your stuff, because the slides might not be what you need at that time. I've been into presentations and I went in and I did only 12 my slides. The rest then became a conversation. And I needed to write on that conversation because it was turning out to be more valuable than the so-called deck that I had brought in. So how much time is your personal preparation? Either if it is a whole day training I'm doing, I have the room to myself. I go in earlier, I set up, I personally pray to charge my room. I pray to charge my room. If it is not a room I have to myself and it's a meeting I am supposed to go into, I pray ahead into the room. I pray into the people. I pray committing whatever is available in the room into God's hands. So that is my way. I don't know how you're going to do that, but that preparation requires a lot of intentionality. A lot of the times, you want to wake up to last minute. Hey, shall I have a presentation? You lift your laptop, you go. You want to start. That's when you are asked a question that's not in your deck, you are thrown off. One of the other things, mentioning what is not in your deck is be comfortable to say what you do not know. Be comfortable. I am comfortable to say, wow, great question. If anybody asks a question I don't have an answer to, I don't know. It would be interesting, Sarah, for all of us to go and find out this. But thank you very much for the question, because I don't know. But I'll be happy to learn. And we will ask those that are on the show if anybody has any responses that we can all learn from. We need to get to a place where we are comfortable not knowing something at a time and be willing to learn. It's okay. Yeah.
It's okay not to know all the answers, and it's
Yes.
okay to also learn from your audience. Thank you very much. And Olivia Okine says, many thanks. Though I have just joined for the how are you values just shared. Many thanks. So the how are you asking your audience is great. So indeed, Olivia goes on to say prayer is the master key. Great points shared with regards for being very open-hearted.
Thank you.
Great. So I don't see any more questions or any more comments. Mami, over to you to share with us your pattern comments or additional nuggets that you have for us today.
Thank you, Sarah. And I want to say thank you so much to everybody who's made time to join us. Delivering powerful presentations and persuasive messages is our life, is every day. You have to persuade your children. You have to persuade your course mates. You have to persuade your colleagues. You have to persuade your spouse, your business partners, your employees. We persuade every day. And that process is not cast in stone. It is dependent on you, what is at stake, why you're doing that, and the context within which you're doing. What I want to leave you with is be open to learn and move the needle whenever you get the opportunity. Thank you so much.
Excellent. So thank you, Mami, for being with us, and to our audience, thank you so much for joining us again for the leadership platform that we bring to you, powered by CTL every Saturday. And as Mami says, persuasion is a way of life. So we believe that you take this with you, all the nuggets that Mami has shared with us, and start living it out. What do you call, using the acronym ACT, what you put into action, what you will change, and what you will teach someone, to your team and to your leaders. So it has been the leadership platform, and we look forward to seeing you again next Saturday when we bring to you another leadership program and topic. Until then, don't forget to already register for the 15 Laws of Growth. You can see the advert running down for you at the bottom, so you can contact CTL Africa for you to be part of cohort number 9. And last but not the least, Leave to Lead is coming on the 4th of October. Get your tickets, get your team, get your HR department to sign you up for that. So, as Uncle Sam will always say, tomorrow is Sunday. Don't forget to go to church. And until then, many thanks to the CTL team, Joy, Sam, who is not here with us today, Kofi, and all the team behind the scenes. It's been a wonderful evening. Good night and see you next week. Bye-bye.